So Tess March asks, what YouTube channels do you enjoy watching? I'm looking for more meal plan, grocery hauls, what's for dinner channels, thanks. A channel that I watch pretty much every day because they have content out every day is A Peek Inside. She's an absolutely wonderful lady and I really enjoy watching her channel and spurring her on. Shelley's Home Life, she also has sort of meals and meals of the week and grocery hauls and things like that, and that's definitely things that I like to watch. So that's kind of why, because I like those channels and I like to watch those, that's kind of why my content is like that, because it's what I like to watch, so that's what I want to make, that's what I'm into. Stella Williams asks, are your recipes family ones which have been passed on, or ones you've made up, or from magazine? Really enjoy watching you cook because unlike the celebrity chefs, I can afford the ingredients. I know, right? Some of the recipes I have, like my meatballs, are ones my mum cooked when I was younger, but a lot of them aren't. My mum doesn't like cooking. She does not cook. I've always enjoyed cooking. My favourite TV show when I was younger was Ready Steady Cook. So I think a lot of it was being influenced by that, and they'd have regular people. I don't know if you must have seen Ready Steady Cook. You'd have a bag of ingredients that was up to a certain value. They would tip it out and it's like, what can you make with this? And I loved that show. And I was little and I loved it. Also, I'm a proper foodie. Whenever I speak to anyone or I'm around anyone, I'm like, what are you having for dinner? What are you having for dinner? So it's just in my head. We had a friend of the family who was African and they invited us round for a party and we went round there and they had curry goat. Now curry goat isn't something my mum would give to us, it's not something that would be in our culture to eat, and I was like, oh, what's that? And they're like, it's curry goat, and I ate it and I loved it. So I love world foods, I love foods from all over the place. I don't want to eat the same things all the time, I want to experiment, I want to taste new foods, I'm like, I want to try this and I want to try that. And it's definitely been an influence of the people I've met. When I was a young girl and I was at school, I had a friend that was Chinese and she was like, come round for dinner. And I'd go round and I had authentic Chinese food, not food you'd get from a takeaway, but authentic Chinese food, and it was delicious. And I talked to her mum about the food and how she cooked it, and so it was just me piecing bits together from different people in my life and different people that have influenced me as I've grown up. My food choices and techniques have changed in accordance to who I've had in my life. So it's just like I see something and I'm like, that's a good idea. I'm going to take that and change it a little bit, and I'm going to take this idea and change it a little bit. And it's kind of evolved that way. Jessica Dunn asks, what's your favourite meal or favourite thing to make? I don't have a favourite meal. I like all foods. Literally, when I go to like Harvester, I'll have a mixed grill, so I have a little bit of everything. It's not, I couldn't have the same thing every day. I can't even have one dinner and then have it for leftovers the next day. I want something totally different. I'm happy to freeze it and have it next week, but I'm a foodie. I like all foods. I couldn't pick one, I just couldn't. Alison Francis asks, what would be your chosen last meal? Oh, see, when I'm nervous or when I'm stressed, I can't eat. I feel sick and I cannot eat anything. So I know that if I was in that position and I was like, right, what's your last meal? I'd be like, I can't eat anything. I wouldn't be able to stomach it. Some people eat through comfort, and when they're stressed they eat. I'm the total opposite. If I'm stressed or worried, I can't eat. I just wouldn't be able to eat anything. Sam D asks, how often do you eat out or get takeaway? Very rarely. Obviously, we are on a budget, as I've said, and if we eat out, it's mainly because, like tonight, I've got gammon, so I'm not going to make chips. I don't own a chip pan. Chips never taste nice when I make them unless you have a chip pan. I don't want my house smelling of fat, and for how much they cost, I would much rather go to the shop and just buy a portion of chips. So when I have chips, it's because I've part made a meal at home that goes with chips, but we don't often have them. As for eating out, on a special occasion we'll eat out as a treat, the kids' birthdays and things like that. Not very often. Eating out is expensive, absolutely expensive. Crystal asks, does your husband or boys ever help with the cooking? Unfortunately, Danny can't cook. He is so talented at so many things. He could make anything. He can sew, he could make anything. He practically rebuilt this house, exaggerating slightly. He can't cook. The boys do help me if we're baking and things like that. They will try and help me. But no, it's mainly me that does the cooking, and I'm quite happy with that. Like I said, predominantly I am a stay-at-home mum. I help out, I'm doing a course and I help out in the school, but my main role is to be a mum. So part of that role is cooking for my family and trying to give them hearty meals. That's part of my role as being their mum, because that is my job. So yeah, mainly I do the cooking. Do you have any tips for days out with the family? Tips would be, take a picnic, get good juice bottles that aren't going to leak. Avoid going to places that are really expensive. For instance, when we go to the beach, I like to go to more of a secluded beach where there is no arcades, because obviously if you go to somewhere that's really big and they have loads of arcades, even if you intend to go in there, sometimes we do go to an arcade beach and I'll be like, there's £2 for the kids and you're not having any more. £2 each, that's it. But it always ends up, you end up giving them more. Whereas if we go to a more secluded beach and there is no arcades, then we will have more of a family time and our entertainment will be each other, not an external entertainment of just watch this and gamble, you know? So yeah, try and find places and find things to do which are low cost, and taking your own food and drink. Also being realistic with your kids for expectations. Like sometimes I'll go, right, we are going here and this is what we're doing. And then they have a clear idea of when we go what we're doing. So they're not like, can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do this? No, I said we were going here and we are doing this. And then that's what we do. So yeah. What is your dream vacation holiday? Egypt. See, me and Danny was meant to go to Egypt for our honeymoon, but it was the time when all that happened and you can't fly there anymore. I think it was the week before we were scheduled to go, so we never got to go on our honeymoon. So I would love to go to Egypt, and just the pyramids and the ancient Egyptians and the history. I'm a proper history geek. So yeah, I would love to go to Egypt. That would be my dream. Scorpion Jill 77 asks, have you been to America? If so, where and did you like it? I haven't been to America, but I watch a lot of Americans on YouTube, so I definitely would love to go. I would love to travel. Danny has been everywhere. I've not really been many places. So yeah, I've always been a bit of a homebody. Samantha asks, are you planning a summer getaway? We're going Butlins for a long weekend. We did that last year twice. We went to 2 long weekends. And then we just mainly do days out in the summer. So it can be spread over. Does that make sense? But I would love to plan a big holiday. See, this year we've had a lot more freedom. In previous years, I had my father-in-law live with us, and he had dementia and COPD, and he was really poorly, and he lived with us for 4 years. So we couldn't go on holiday. We couldn't if we wanted to. He took up a lot of our time. Obviously now he's passed and we're finding ourselves back on our feet and living sort of on our own again without him. We are sort of trying to change our way of living, but when you live in a certain way for so long, it's kind of in your mind to live like that. So we would have days out rather than have a week away, because we couldn't put him in respite because of various reasons. But yeah, hopefully in the next couple of years we want to have a nice big holiday abroad with our family. But we enjoy our days out. We enjoy, as we call it, holidaying from home, where you can Get up in the morning, have a beautiful day out as if you was on holiday, and then come home to the comfort of your own bed and then do the same thing the next day. So we like to do that. Samantha also asks, locations do you enjoy in the UK? I live in Kent, and Kent is a beautiful area. We have so much around us locally, so we definitely enjoy our local area. Bognor Regis is really, really nice. I love Cornwall. My stepdad lives in Cornwall, and that's a lovely place. So yeah, I definitely want to venture out more. I need to. Samantha also asks, how do you budget for your holidays? I have a sinking fund. I have around 7 accounts. One of them being a holiday/day out sinking fund. So on payday, I take some money out of the main account, which Danny's wage goes into, and I put it into that sinking fund. And I do that all year round. So by the time summer comes, that account has a good chunk of money that pays for all our days out, our holidays and things like that. So I fund it all year round. But I do that with Christmas and birthdays and all things like that. I just have loads of accounts, and every time we get paid, I put money into them. And I budget for that and allocate money accordingly. Samantha also asks, can you talk about holidays on a budget? Definitely planning will be key. Booking in January, straight after Christmas, because prices are really low then, because no one's got no money. But then if you budget all year round, you will have the money ready to go. So know when to plan and book your holiday. Also consider going self-catering. See, last year we went Butlins twice, as I said. We went half board both times. This year we're going self-catering. And that's Danny like, we could save a fortune if we went self-catering. Plus, I don't really like this food, I much prefer yours. But to me, I'm like, well, it's meant to be a holiday and I cook every day. So having a half board option is great for me because it means I haven't got to cook. But we are going self-catering, and that is for budget reasons. So, you know, saving that money on the half board means perhaps we can go out extra days and things like that. So yeah, shop around, plan, self-catering if you can, and also invest in water bottles, picnic type stuff, so when you're out and the kids are hungry, you've got stuff for them in the day rather than buying. Because you know, if you go on holiday, those little convenience shops that they have, they cost a fortune to buy snacks and food from. It's much better if you buy your food before you go.